Now, always a good way to begin a meditation is to be sure that your feet are on the ground. And if you prefer to sit cross-legged in a chair or on the floor, that's okay. Go ahead and let the base of your body be weighted so that you can feel yourself anchored through the base of your body. And then let the breath, invite the breath to flow in through the body. Just take some breath in through the nose and invite, invite, invite. So in the beginning here, we're utilizing just a little bit of effort. Meditation essentially is effortless. But here, what we want to do is set aside anything that you've been involved with up until this moment and give yourself fully to whatever is happening here, now, with you. So technology is turned off, except for the screen. There's nothing that you need to attend to. So just starting here. Eyes are closed softly. And we're going to begin on the outside. And so here is a good exercise in checking to see that you are able to allow everything to be as it is in your surroundings, in the external environment in which you inhabit. So there may be traffic in the distance. There may be other people in your home. I know for some of you it's evening. There may be children about. Maybe all kinds of things happening in your external environment. So this is the first clearing to check to see that there isn't any part of you that's opposed to what's happening in the external environment. So just let it be as it is. And notice that as you allow everything to be as it is on the outside, that naturally your attention will be able to soften and fall to the inside. Let attention come close, softening and receding beneath the boundary of the physical form and allowing yourself to enter into your internal environment. Now let's also attend for a moment. If there's a part of you that feels that it needs to attend to something on the outside, just notice that and ask yourself, can it wait? How important is it for right now? If you need to attend so that you can relax, go ahead and take care of that. Or write it down on a piece of paper and tell yourself, I will attend to that. But right now, I'm relaxing here inside of myself. So let the breath deepen. Inside. We're going to do the very same thing on the inside, attending to the internal environment of you. Now, there may be thoughts, and let there be space for thought to be here. So you're not asking anything to be different. Just like you can't really ask the traffic to stop moving. You have no control over the traffic on the outside. It's just moving as it is. It's what is. In the same way with thought. Thought may be moving. Let it be as it is. Not to push on it, not to pull on it and ask it to be different. Just let it be as it is. And notice that in doing so, that naturally there is more space. And whatever thoughts may have felt sticky, they begin to lose their meaning. They're just what is. They don't need to define you. They don't need to give anything meaning. This only happens when we stick to thought and make a decision that it means something about us or somebody else. And that's how we create the character called me, the meanness. So let that sense of meanness open. Give it space. You may notice there's a wider space of you that doesn't cling, doesn't attach, doesn't ask anything to be different. It's not pushing. It's not pulling. It's not claiming anything to be its own. So here, the space of the mind can empty, can be without definition. There may be a myriad of ideas and thoughts moving through the mind, often referred to as the 10,000 things, all happening in the space of you as space, as nobodiness. That has no volition to cling, just space, just open, relaxed, clear, luminous space. Now here, when there isn't the activity of pushing or pulling, resisting anything that's moving through the space of the mind, whatever may have been toxic or create a sense of suffering can continue to empty out, can unravel. Let that happen. Hold on to nothing. Soften, soften, soften. Now, if you feel a tinge of toxicity or headache or maybe even disorientation, it's normal, as the familiar meanness, that which often gets identified with, unravels. As these conditioned grooves, conditioned ways of referring to yourself as a persona, as a character, as a identity in time and space, empty, clear. And notice how it is for you to just be space. Just be awareness. To let yourself be unknown. To not have to wear a face, persona, character. Now it's very wonderful to spend time here in the luminosity and spaciousness of a clear mind, of an empty mind, and to become familiar with the spaciousness of the mind. And now let's, if it hasn't happened for you already, to just very lightly allow your attention to relax into the body. And just notice what happens with this soft, gentle invitation to just fall and relax into the space of the body. Now, for some of you, depending on how deep you let yourself go into the space of the mind, you may already sense yourself without a body, without a boundary. And if you are able to sense into your body, let's do that. And see where attention goes. Now, the intelligence of you, consciousness itself, is very wise. And consciousness is forever bringing unconsciousness back home to itself. So that means any areas in the body, mind, emotional system that have been suppressed, held back, hidden from view, will naturally come into view, come into the spacious view of you as awareness. So just notice where attention goes in the body. It doesn't matter, we're not here to critique, to judge, or evaluate where awareness moves. So there may be spaces that feel open. There also may be aspects of you that feel closed, tight, constricted. Maybe in the process of awakening, of waking up, of opening, of coming to life. Let that happen. Essentially, as awakening happens throughout the body-mind system, it's almost as if at the same time a dying is happening, a falling away of what's no longer needed, what doesn't serve, which can't be held onto, which cannot be resisted any longer. So trust now in this meditation, in this transmission of non-resistance, that the aspects of you that are ready to open, the parts that are ready to die away, will do so. And this happens by not forcing, not pushing, not asking for anything to be different. So here, let yourself sink into those parts that are calling attention, giving space. Maybe it's around a particular organ, like the liver, the heart. Maybe it's behind the heart, backside. Maybe it's in the belly. Wherever it is, welcome. As if you have a very soft gaze right there in the body. Very tender and soft, like a kind mother or father looking on to a newborn. Giving birth to itself uninhibited. Life opening. Life moving without any sense of restraint. Without any judgment. Without any sense of, oh, this is exactly right, or this is exactly wrong. Just is what's happening. Non-resistance is always whatever is happening without adding anything to it. Without any desire for anything to be different. And without any sense of lack or something's wrong or somehow something is missing. No, none of that. Feel your full and complete worthiness. It's inborn to continuously give birth to whatever may have been held back, suppressed, controlled, or resisted in any shape or form throughout your life stream, just because it didn't know anything different at the time, without the need to find fault, excuse, or any story whatsoever about any character, specifically the character that you may have referred to as yourself. So here, we're allowing any sense of meanness, any claiming to dissolve. Let yourself be without a definition. Let yourself be boundaryless space. Let the life force of you, the energy of you, open and circulate wherever it will without the need to direct. The intelligence of you as consciousness knows what to do. It will harmonize energies. It will allow what's not needed to die off. And it will give birth to your aliveness. Your newness. The reality of you that knows nothing about resistance is in harmony with what is, as it is. Because any overlay over what is simply the me-ness trying to reconfigure itself through a very limited and conditioned lens. Now, really, you are not small and will not fit in that lens. So let yourself be vast, wide, uncontained. Grounded here in the sacred vehicle of a body. Grounded, anchored, settled here. Spacious and alive. So although you have this body here, it does not define you. So here you can even hold the body very loosely. Enjoy the quiet, still aliveness of you, undefined, opened, without resistance. Then you are a vehicle for grace. To show itself. Now, before we close this part of the program, and before you even open your eyes, just notice that there's a contentment whenever we drop out of meanness, out of mind, out of identifying with that little character that we refer to as me. Just like the character in a good novel can feel very real and can collect all kinds of ideas and definitions, but also see clearly how natural it is to have no sense of an identity, that's much more natural, and that there's a happiness that implodes, a contentment, a sense of satisfaction that wells up from within whenever we're not identified or localizing our sense of identity through the mind, through the conditioned aspects of the mind. Very important to sense that you can only know this directly inside of yourself through your being, the wholeness of you that has never been damaged, that's always more than enough. It has an intrinsic sense of knowing, of satisfaction, that is often overlooked by how we get fixated on desires, wants, conditioned beliefs that circulate and get accumulated through our conditioning. That's not natural to us. So you can fall out of mind by not resisting any of the clutter, letting it be as it is, and letting it unhinge itself through the spaciousness of you. So let your body, your bones, your cells, your blood remember what it feels like to be unhooked, unhinged, undefined by mind. This remembering, this sense of being at home in yourself, content, not to let it be forgotten. So this is through direct experience. It doesn't come through a book. So I'm going to say a few more things just before we switch over to Zoom in about a few minutes. And I hope that you can join me on Zoom because I enjoy hearing what you have to say. And you're always welcome to send me questions or comments. I actually took on this theme because of some emails that I received. Somebody who listened to one of my videos a year ago and listens to it frequently because this particular theme, working with it, has been very useful. Being able to distinguish between your form, the form of you, and your formless nature. So what I want to say is how this character called me and how resistance shows up in the character is so often we have this wish, this desire for something to be different than what it is. So in that, there's an idea, I have to have it go this way. I can't have it go this way. And if it goes this way, in a positive way, so to speak, then it will add to my tank of worthiness, of self-worthiness. And if it goes this way, the way that I don't want it to go, it will add to my tank called unworthiness. So desire and unworthiness and resistance are very directly related. And there's nothing wrong with any of them. There's nothing wrong with wanting. Wanting is a very beautiful thing. But when we want something and we pretend, just like you're reading a good novel and you're playing the character, and it's almost like a desperation. If the character doesn't get this, it means this. And there's a hook, and it's very strong, and it's almost like a funnel then is created, and it goes into the body, and it creates this sense of either worthiness or unworthiness. Because the desire isn't what's happening. The desire has to open up, like the wanting to open. And as we let wanting happen, and we let it open, regardless of where it's coming from, and we let it open and open and open, we get to feel and we get to see what that wanting is all about. We get to see, am I wanting actually what's being presented? Or do I have a layer, or maybe many layers on top of it for what I wish it would be, how I want it to be, which is different than what it actually is. And so if we have a layer, or maybe several layers over the top of it, then that's not reality at all. So the result is going to be suffering, going to be unhappy, whether the result is positive or negative, because we're wanting something that isn't even happening. It's not even happening. And when we're caught up in that, we're also caught up in the character that we're calling ourselves at the time. So we're adding fuel to the meanness. We're solidifying the sense of the meanness. So all of that we need to be able to relax back and settle, because energetically you can feel energetically, when the system is churning and it's wanting something, and it's the psychology is turned on, the emotionality is turned on, the desperation of, if I don't get this, it's going to mean I'm a good person or a bad person, or I'm not pretty enough, I'm not, smart enough, I'm whatever that story is that gets fueled from our past conditioning, way back here, that's getting fueled and configuring itself in the present moment. So you can start to see all of that. And then you can see how you're hooked on to an old identity. So you can just start to let everything slow down. So in a sense, this is a conscious practice. Whenever we feel ourselves suffering, we feel ourselves getting really hooked into something, and we're believing that it means something about who we are, that's the time to practice. That's the time to look. Like, how am I hooking into this? What am I believing about myself? What is actually truly happening? What am I pushing away? What am I not allowing myself to see? All of these little inquiries that can be dropped in softly, that then allow the reality of what is to be seen as it is. And then it's just what is. It's just what is happening. And it doesn't mean anything about you. It's just what is. And just feel that energetically. when you just let something be as it is. You know, your breath goes all the way down deep into the belly. It doesn't stop here, or maybe even just here in a headache. So our body is a wonderful barometer too for how it is we're interpreting, if we're resisting or not. I want to just give a little example, a couple of minutes left. In my own life, I always like to give, examples and just take it right home. I've been away for a while, so I've been gone 4 weeks and I just got home and there's all kinds of things that need to be attended to. And I knew that I had this appointment coming up with one of my daughters. It was just yesterday. And many of you know my daughters that listen to this program or who have read my book, Edge of Grace, A Fierce Awakening to Love. 2 of the characters in there are my twins. And one of them is the unstoppable Abby. And Abby is a feisty character, to say the least. And she's already 20, so she's a young adult and very interested to make her own decisions. However, she doesn't always get the full picture, so I'm an advocate for her, and I like to help her feel things out so that she can get a greater understanding and make a wise decision. Well, yesterday we were heading to Stanford to a particular aspect of their hospital that does an analysis of how you walk. And we have done this kind of thing before. She has a mild form of spasticity and tone in her body that affects the way that she walks. And in Western medicine, there's all kinds of different operations, surgeries, and adjustments, and lengthening of muscles, and kinds of things that you can do to apparently, maybe, fix this. I say the word fix because Western medicine sometimes is about fixing. And things don't always get fixed. Sometimes there are more complications after than prior. So we want to take our time with this and really look at it. So in a space of non-resistance, it would be to allow all of the information to come in, and to let all of it come in, let all of it come in. And even me, my notions of Western medicine have to fall away. I have to really let all the information come in. So now it's though not just about me, because Abby is this young adult and she's very smart. And she has some ideas about how her life is going right now. And she doesn't want any interference. So when we're driving to this appointment, the entire drive, which is about an hour, all I heard is no. The whole no, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this, the whole time. No, 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 no. And for a little while I was feeling in myself, wow, I wanna encourage her to be open. I mean, I wanted her to say yes, or maybe I wanted her to be open. But I just let her go and let her go and let her go, because I realized that there was resistance coming up in me to her no. And I felt myself getting, a little bit frustrated about that, because after all, we're doing this appointment. We're going to go through all these hours of looking at something, and we ought to at least be open to it. But energetically, when I felt myself feeling like I wanted her to be different, I wanted her to change her idea about this, and as soon as I saw that, then the whole field opened up in the car. And she actually started talking more openly. So when we're in resistance to something, whoever we're in the conversation, whether we're trying to have a correspondence, of course, they can feel our resistance, or if we're trying to push them to be different somehow, to change their mind. So when that energy wasn't there anymore in me, then energetically something shifted for her as well. And how it all turns out in the end, I don't know yet. We went and we did the whole thing, and she's kind of going back and forth, now I'll consider what they have to say, and I kind of in a way have to pull myself out of it. You see, so I just wanted to show a little bit about whenever we're in resistance inside of ourselves, it impacts everybody that we come into correspondence with. They're going to feel that, and they're going to push against it. They're going to push against, like if you're asking someone to be different, they're going to push against it. But as soon as you can take that energy of that out and let it be exactly as it is, you will be surprised about what happens. So that's enough.